Revealed, an incredible 4,000 wheelchair gift transformed my daughter-in-law's life at dinner. Jack stood outside, the sizzling sound of burgers on the grill blending with the laughter of his family inside. This wasn't just another Sunday dinner, it was a night set to change everything for his daughter-in-law, Lily. He remembered the first time he'd met her, bright-eyed and vibrant, filled with dreams and laughter. But ever since that tragic accident, a shadow had loomed over her once exuberant spirit. The accident had left her paraplegic, and now, it felt like a wall had built up between him and her. Tonight, Jack had a surprise: a 4,000 state-of-the-art wheelchair he had worked late shifts for months to afford. As he wiped the sweat off his brow, he couldn't shake the knot of anxiety in his chest. Would this gift bridge their growing disconnection? Would it give her the independence she craved but struggled to find? It was about more than mobility. It was a gift of respect, of hope. As they gathered around the dinner table, the comforting smells of grilled burgers and baked beans filled the air. Jack's heart raced, anticipation simmering beneath the surface. He cleared his throat. It was time. He looked at Lily, her gaze distant, lost somewhere between gratitude and fear. The moment he revealed the wheelchair, silence enveloped the room. "Lily, I want you to have this," Jack said, his voice barely above a whisper, holding the shiny wheelchair like a prized possession. For a split second, her eyes sparkled, a mix of joy and shock. But then, Jack caught the flicker of hesitation. What was she thinking? Was it too much? Before he could dwell on it, Mark, his son, shifted nervously in his chair, the tension palpable. Dinner progressed awkwardly. Casual comments intended as love often landed like stones. "Must be nice to spend money like that," someone quipped, and Jack's stomach twisted. It was as if the family's well-meaning intentions became a breeding ground for unspoken judgment. He fought the urge to defend himself, feeling the weight of every late-night shift, every skipped meal. Then, just as the air thickened with quiet reluctance, Amy, Lily's childhood friend and disability advocate, arrived uninvited. The lively chatter turned electric as she entered, her vibrant energy challenging the unspoken norms. "What's all this?" She grinned, taking in the scene. Her boldness pierced the tension, turning the table into a battlefield for unspoken truths and suppressed emotions. Jack's heart raced as Amy spoke on the importance of recognizing worth beyond ability. In that moment, everything unspooled. Jack felt his dignity clash with the generational divide, while Lily wrestled with her own judgments about being a burden. Fragile feelings collided, and Jack's defenses started to fracture. Before Jack could respond, a heartfelt confession slipped from Lily's lips, breaking the dam of silence. The dinner table, a once safe haven, transformed into a ground zero of vulnerability. Gazes darted, unfinished sentences hung in the air, and anticipation quivered like an unsung melody. What would happen next? What would they discover in this tangled web of love, expectations, and the pursuit of happiness? A wave of uncertainty loomed, heavy with the promise of painful truths yet to be unveiled. Lily's voice trembled as she spoke. "I feel like a ghost of the person I used to be." The words hung in the air, piercing through the heavy silence like a sudden gust of wind. Jack felt every single heartbeat in the room as everyone shifted uncomfortably in their seats. He wanted to reach out, to tell her how much she still mattered, how he saw her strength, but something held him back. "I look at that chair, and I don't know. It feels like a reminder of all I've lost," she admitted, tears welling in her eyes. "Like I'm being forced to accept what I can't change." Her confession cracked something inside Jack. The burden she carried, the struggle she faced every day, he hadn't known how deeply it had affected her. Mark glanced nervously between his father and Lily, stepping into the moment. "But it doesn't have to be a bad thing, Lily. This chair, it can help you live again. It can give you independence." His voice was shaky but earnest, trying to bridge the chasm of misunderstanding that seemed to drown them all. "Independence," she echoed, a bitter smile playing across her lips. "But what does that even mean when everything I loved is out of reach? I can't play with my kids or go for a hike or even just run to the store when I want to." At that, a wave of guilt crashed over Jack. He had been so fixated on the chair as a symbol of autonomy that he hadn't seen it could also represent losses, dreams deferred, joys denied. The room grew heavy, filled with the weight of unspoken fears. Amy, sensing the gravity of the moment, leaned in. But Lily, this chair isn't just about movement. It's about redefining what you're capable of. There's power in embracing this new chapter. Her voice rang with a conviction that sparked a flicker of hope in Jack's heart. Redefining? Lily scoffed, wiping a tear. You mean, being okay with being less than I was? That's a hard pill to swallow. Jack felt the tension between them, the unyielding struggle between wanting to help and fearing he was only pushing her deeper into despair. He took a deep breath, his heart thumping loudly in his chest. Lily, I get it. Really, I do. I thought this could help, that it would bring back some of the joy you used to have. But I realize now that joy doesn't come wrapped in a shiny new chair. It's something you have to find for yourself. A sigh escaped Lily's lips. She looked up, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. For how long had she felt alone in her battle? Finding joy? I don't even know where to start as the words fell from her lips. An unexpected warmth filled the air and openness had developed, a willingness to embrace discomfort and vulnerability. Jack sensed it. It was a fragile thread, yet it lingered, inviting them to explore together. Their truths began to intertwine, revealing a path he hadn't even considered. It starts with how we face those scary feelings, Amy added, her voice steadying. What if we tried to navigate this together? You don't have to do it alone. With uncertainty paving the way, Lily took a moment, contemplating. So, what happens next? How do we even begin? Jack's heart battled with hope and anxiety. They were on the cusp of something pivotal, something that could redefine their relationship in ways they hadn't dared to dream. But could they truly face the future together? The room held its breath as everyone awaited Lily's response, the flicker of possibility sparking in the darkness. Would this dinner become the turning point in their lives? The uncertainty loomed large, waiting for an answer, while the warmth of honesty hung in the air. What would Lily decide? Lily sat still, her heart racing, echoing Jack's own apprehension. The air felt electric, charged with all their unspoken worries. She could sense everyone's eyes on her, waiting for some sign of what she might choose. If only she had the answer. The words danced on the tip of her tongue, caught in a web of fear and doubt. It's terrifying to think of moving forward to redefine what I am, she finally whispered. The words felt jagged, like they hadn't truly belonged to her. When was the last time she had even considered the possibility of change without feeling overwhelmed? Mark leaned closer, his youthful spirit beaming through the heaviness. But what if this could be a chance to discover something new about yourself? Think about it. Remember how you always said you would climb that mountain in Colorado? Maybe you could find a way to do that again, in some way. The mention of the mountain pierced through her darkness, awakening a flicker of longing, a soft glow of the spirit that had been dimmed yet not extinguished. I remember, she replied, choking on her breath. But that seems like a lifetime ago. Jack could see the internal battle she was waging, the glint of hope merging with the weight of her reality. Lily, you don't have to climb the mountain tomorrow. Take it one step at a time. Using that chair might not take away everything you've lost, but it could be a doorway to new experiences. He hesitated, trying to choose his next words carefully. You were so strong once. Maybe we just need to find that strength again, together. She looked at him, really looked, and saw the sincerity in his gaze. He wasn't just trying to make her feel better, he meant it. The burden lifted just a little. Together, would you really want that? To help me find a new path? Amy smiled, and her eyes sparkled with encouragement. Absolutely. We are all in this with you, she affirmed. Mark nodded vigorously, his youthful enthusiasm palpable. With a deep breath, Lily realized there was something inside her that still stirred, a ghost of the woman she used to be, and maybe, just maybe, she could embrace that ghost instead of shunning it. All right, let us start taking those steps. The room erupted in a warm applause of relief and support, and for the first time in what felt like ages, a smile crept onto Lily's face. It felt fragile, like a whisper of hope, but it was still there. Maybe they could break the chains of her confinement, Little by little, Jack couldn't help but smile back, feeling a spark inside him, too. She was ready to live again. But as they spoke about the options available, they started to explore the idea of equipment that might not only make it easier to navigate everyday life, but also enable Lily to do things she had loved in the past. The energy shifted, becoming lighter, filled with dreams being reborn. However, the conversation then turned towards practicalities, the costs, the choices, the hows and whens. The weight of their excitement began to be balanced by the heaviness of reality. But what if Lily started, and hesitated, glancing at Jack? What if I can't afford it? Sudden silence wrapped around them, a chill creeping back in. The doubt was back, creeping into the edges of what had felt bright. Would her hopes be stifled by the practicality of life? The room, once filled with lightness, now felt heavy once again. Jack swallowed hard, the fear bubbling back to the surface. "We'll figure it out, Lily," he said, but as he uttered the words, an unsettling thought crossed his mind. Could they truly afford this? As tensions thickened, an unexpected message dinged on Mark's phone. He glanced at it, eyes widening. "Guys. You won't believe this. There's a family foundation that gives grants for situations just like Lily's." Suddenly, the air filled with a mix of hesitation and exhilaration. Was this the sign they needed? Was it enough? What surprises lay ahead for them now? Lily's heart skipped a beat as Mark's words hung in the air like a thick fog, lifting just enough to reveal the horizon. A family foundation grants. The very concept lit a spark of possibility deep within her, igniting her hope once again. "Are you serious?" she asked, almost breathlessly. The idea felt surreal, like standing on the edge of a precipice, peering down into an abyss of dreams previously thought lost. Mark nodded, his expression a mixture of excitement and urgency. "Yeah. It's legit. I just got this notification. They focus on mobility issues, especially for people trying to regain their independence." His enthusiasm was infectious, and Lily found herself leaning in, captivated. Amy bounced in her seat, her brown hair bobbing with excitement. "This could be huge. We must look into it right away. Maybe they can help cover the costs for the equipment you need." Lily's mind raced. She felt like a race car revving its engine, ready to speed away from the pit stop of doubt. Could this be the kickstart she needed? She caught Jack's eye, and he smiled, his encouragement palpable. But what if there's a catch? Lily's voice wavered, uncertainty sneaking back in. She couldn't shake the fear that this too might fade away, like so many other dreams she had dared to believe. "Let us not think like that," Mark replied with all the confidence of a kid on Christmas morning. "We need to dig deeper. What if we could gather your information tonight? The foundation might have a simple application process." Jack's fingers drummed on the table. "I know I can help with that. I've written applications before. We just need to show how much you deserve this opportunity, and what it could mean for you." Lily's chest tightened as he spoke. It was a new kind of pressure, the kind she hadn't felt in so long. The thought of being open about her struggles yet again wasn't easy, but there was also a thrill in imagining a future where she could reclaim her independence. "Okay, let us do it," she breathed, a current of determination coursing through her, but as her words faded, anxiety clenched her heart again. What if I apply, and they say no? An uncomfortable silence blanketed the room once more. But Jack, ever the steady truth that anchored her thoughts, reached for her hand, his touch warm and reassuring. "Then we try again. We keep pushing until we find someone willing to help. You're worth it, Lily." Reflection danced across Lily's heart, and slowly, a fragile smile broke through the clouds of self-doubt. This felt different. It felt like a team, a little army fighting for her. What if they needed a video from me? Or letters of support? "I'm not sure I can muster the energy to share my story with more strangers," she admitted, vulnerability creeping in once again. "Hey, we're right here with you, remember?" Mark chimed in. "You don't have to do any of this alone. We'll figure out what they need, and we'll help you gather everything." There was something about their unwavering support that lifted her, like a sudden rush of warmth. It was the first time she allowed herself to truly believe they were in her corner. Lily felt a spark of hope flicker again, igniting embers of her past dreams. Maybe this could lead them somewhere incredible. But then, Jack's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. He glanced down and his eyes widened with surprise. Guys, it looks like Mark's text wasn't he the only one that came in. Curiosity swirled in the air as they all leaned closer. What is it? Lily asked, her heart racing with a mix of anticipation and dread. I just got an alert about a community fundraiser happening this weekend, for disabilities. Jack said, and as he spoke, Lily's heart began to thrum faster. They might be looking for stories to share and... The words hung in the air, a public platform to speak her truth. But suddenly, as the possibility of sharing her journey loomed, the weight of the unknown pressed down heavily on her. Would she be ready to open up like that? Time stood still, and Lily knew one thing for sure, her life was about to get a whole lot more complicated. But would that complication be worth it? Lily felt the world around her blur for a moment, a whirlwind of emotions spinning as Jack's words sank in. Could this really be the opportunity she needed? A community fundraiser, a chance to share her story? Do you really think they'd want to hear from someone like me? She asked softly, doubt creeping in again like a shadow. What if they didn't care? What if her struggles were too distant, too foreign for anyone to understand? Absolutely, Jack replied with that infectious enthusiasm that was becoming a staple in her life. Your story matters. It's not just about you, it's about everyone who feels like they've been sidelined. This could inspire someone else. Mark leaned forward, his eyes sparkling with earnestness. Plus, it's a chance to connect with people who can relate. A united front can make a bigger impact. A wave of warmth spread across her chest. Their belief in her was a powerful antidote to her lingering fears. She could reclaim a part of herself at this fundraiser, lift the curtain and let the world see what she had been through. But then she stumbled over another thought. What if I freeze up? What if I can't speak? Then we'll be right beside you, cheering you on, Amy assured her, her voice thick with conviction. You don't have to do this alone. The enormity of it all hit her again. Sharing her truth in front of a crowd stirred both dread and exhilaration. What if she could shed the weight of all she had endured? What if someone out there needed to hear her words? Jack's phone buzzed again, snapping her from her thoughts. Let's check out the details, he said, scrolling through the alerts. We'll figure out how to prepare you for this weekend. With every passing second, the idea began to crystallize in her mind. Attending the fundraiser could be the spark that propelled her forward. Perhaps this was her chance to help others and to heal herself in the process. All right, let's do it, she finally said, determination strengthening her voice. Let's gather everything we need. I'll make a video if they want it. I'll share my story. The words rushed out, a declaration of her intent. Mark and Amy grinned, their enthusiasm radiating through the room like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Jack clapped his hands together. This is so exciting. I'll help gather your thoughts, and we can practice the video together. Lily took a breath, her heart swelling with a strange mix of anxiety and excitement. What if it doesn't go well? What if my story isn't strong enough? Then you'll try again, Jack said firmly. But what if it goes so well that it opens doors you never even knew existed? As they brainstormed ideas and encouraged her, Lily felt the weight of fear slowly start to dissolve. Their laughter filled the room, a balm for her worry. This journey they were embarking on felt more like a shared adventure than a solitary struggle. Her mind buzzed with thoughts of all the ways she could reach out to the community, and with every suggestion, another ember of hope took flame in her heart. But underneath the steady buildup of positivity, there was still one lingering thought. Does anyone know what kind of questions they might ask at the fundraiser? She murmured, her voice dropping slightly as the reality of the situation settled back in. Jack hesitated, biting his lip. I guess that means we should figure that out too, just in case. As they plunged into a cascade of brainstorming, Lily couldn't help but wonder, was she truly prepared for what lay ahead? Would she find the strength to share her journey, or would her past tuck itself away once again, hiding in the shadows of fear? Her heart raced as she realized that this was just the beginning. The upcoming weekend promised to be a tipping point, a chance not just to speak, but to truly be seen. And as she stared into the distance, her heart thrumming with hope and trepidation, she had to ask herself one final question. Would this be the moment she embraced her story, or the moment it embraced her once again? Lily woke up the next day with the sunlight spilling into her bedroom, illuminating the pile of notes and sketches she'd made about her story. Her heart raced at the thought of the fundraiser just a few days away. Each morning had begun to feel like a countdown, a mix of excitement and apprehension stirring in her chest. Jack's words echoed in her mind. Maybe this was her moment. Maybe she could reach others who felt just as lost. Her fingers brushed across her sketchpad, tracing over bullet points that she planned to cover. It had been so long since she had allowed herself to think of her struggles as something worth sharing. But now, surrounded by friends who believed in her, it seemed possible. She glanced at her phone and found messages from Mark and Amy, their excitement radiating through their texts. They wanted to meet later that day to continue preparing for the big event. A warmth covered her like a blanket, soothing her lingering worries. By afternoon, they gathered in Jack's living room, laughter the backdrop to their planning. Each suggestion made Lily feel lighter, as if she was shedding layers of doubt. Jack had set up a camera, ready to help her practice her speech, and the usual nervous flutter in her stomach twisted into something more encouraging. "Okay, let us get started." Jack beamed at her, camera poised. "Just speak from the heart. No pressure, we're just trying to capture your truth." Taking a deep breath, Lily stepped forward. The camera felt vast, a silent witness to her vulnerability. "Hi, my name is Lily," she began, and as her story unfolded, the words just flowed. She spoke of her challenges, the pain of feeling invisible, and the slow crawl toward finding her voice. Confidence swelled inside her, wrapping around her like a warm hug. Her friends cheered her on. "That was incredible," Amy exclaimed, her eyes shining with tears. "Do it again, but this time, let more of that fire come through," Mark encouraged. Lily felt the spark ignite stronger than before. As they continued, her nerves started to fade, replaced by determination. Each time she poured her heart out, it felt more like the truth was lifting her instead of holding her down. But beneath the excitement, a different thought started creeping in. What if someone judges me? What if they don't connect with what I'm saying? "Lily," Jack said, his voice sincere yet firm, "you're sharing what you've lived. It's yours, and no one can take that away from you. Remember, your journey can spark hope in others." "Jack is right," Amy added. "Even if one person hears you and feels less alone, that matters. You have to believe in your impact." That evening, as they wrapped up, Lily felt something shift within her. A new sense of purpose stirred, blending with the fear that had shadowed her for so long. She knew sharing her truth would involve risk, but maybe hiding wasn't the answer anymore. As they packed up, Lily spotted a sticky note on the table with a reminder from Mark. "You're not just telling a story, you're building a bridge." That phrase hung in the air, striking a chord deep inside her. At home, standing in front of her mirror, Lily practiced her lines again, but this time, she allowed her emotions to surface fully. Tears slipped down her cheeks, mingling with nervous laughter. The connection she was building with her friends felt like a lifeline. Maybe this fundraiser was about more than just sharing her experience. It was about finding home within herself. As she drifted off to sleep, the soft hum of excitement mixed with the fear of the unknown cradled her into dreams filled with imagery of support and connection. When the day of the fundraiser finally arrived, Lily stood before a crowd that stretched beyond her imagination, her heart pounding loud in her chest. Would she be able to bare her soul in front of all these eyes? With a deep breath, she stepped forward, ready to find out if she could truly connect or if the fear would swallow her whole. The moment to reveal herself was here, and with it, a whisper of possibility filled the air. What if this was not just an ending, but the start of something incredible? Lily stood before the microphone, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The faces in the crowd blurred together in a sea of eager expressions, pinching the air with anticipation. For a brief moment, the noise of the world around her faded. All she could hear was her heartbeat and the soft, encouraging murmurs of her friends behind her. She opened her mouth, but words stuck in her throat like a bitter candy. Seeing Jack, Amy, and Mark in the crowd, their faces glowing with encouragement, rekindled a flicker of courage. The feeling that had carried her from her bedroom to this moment surged inside her, filling the empty spaces where doubt lingered. "Hi, everyone," she finally managed, her voice shaky yet resolute. "My name is Lily, and I want to share my story with you tonight." As she spoke, her words began to flow more effortlessly. She talked about the times she felt lost, recounting moments that had once felt like shadows looming over her. She recounted her struggles, each word carefully crafted, yet instinctive, like an artist revealing their masterpiece. "I used to think my voice didn't matter. I felt swallowed by the expectations and pressures of life." Silence fell over the crowd, a collective breath held. "But I've learned that our stories can build bridges even when we're not sure if anyone else listening." Lily could see tears glimmering in Amy's eyes, the weight of understanding bridging their souls. She continued, weaving her narrative through vulnerability and strength, recounting the nights spent crying alone and the subsequent dawns of hope. Then it happened. She shared the moment that had shifted her perspective, a conversation with Jack, where he had urged her to believe that her voice could resonate with others. "Jack told me, you're more than your fears. You're a beacon, Lily. That's your power." At that, a few heads nodded in the audience. She could sense the heartfelt connections, as if she was reaching out and grabbing hold of a multitude of hands. "I stand here knowing I'm still a work in progress," she confessed, her voice rising with newfound passion. "But sharing this, putting it all out there, it's freeing. It's my truth, and it feels light." The warmth of shared experiences washed over her, and she could see in their faces that they were with her, feeling empowered to connect. Those happening moments fueled her heart, urging her to delve deeper. But a lump built in her throat once again as she spoke of her greatest fear, the fear of being rejected. "What if they don't find hope in my story?" she questioned, though a whisper of confidence echoed back, reminding her, "What if they do?" The one question hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, she locked eyes with a young woman in the front row. The sincerity in her gaze sparked something deep within Lily, igniting the flame of purpose anew. "I'm here to tell you that if we keep quiet, we rob the world of connection. We stifle hope." The crowd erupted softly in applause, and at that moment, she felt something inside her shift. The fear that used to loom now transformed into clarity. She had a voice that mattered, it was meaningful, and it resonated with hearts eager to understand, to heal. As she wrapped up her speech, she shared a challenge with the crowd. "I urge you to find your voice. Let us lift one another up, even when it seems scary. You never know who's waiting to hear your truth." When she stepped away from the microphone, the atmosphere was electric. The applause rolled like waves washing over her, and she felt a mix of exhilaration and relief. She had done it. She had shared her truth, but then, amid the cheers, the quiet part of her surfaced once more. What if she hadn't made an impact? What if someone out there still felt alone? As she joined her friends, bearing witness to the aftermath of her share, a woman approached her, visibly shaken, unable to contain her emotions. "You don't know me," she began, tears streaming down her face, "but your story, it shifted something inside me." Lily's heart raced again. What if all of this had been for her? She thought. And as the woman shared her own struggles, Lily realized this is exactly why she had stepped up. That feeling of bridging connections felt more tangible than ever. Little did they know, this encounter would lead Lily down an unexpected path, one where her voice would not only be a beacon but a catalyst for change, challenging everything she thought she knew about herself. What awaited them all as they stepped deeper into this journey together? As the evening wore on, the room buzzed with conversations ignited by Lily's speech. Her heart swelled with a mix of pride and relief as she soaked in the atmosphere. It was unfamiliar yet profoundly exhilarating. It felt as if the walls of the venue had transformed into a safety net made of understanding and acceptance. The woman who approached her lingered, still trembling from the weight of her emotions. "I came here tonight to support a friend," she confessed, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "But your words resonated so deeply. I've been struggling with my own voice, thinking no one would care to hear it. Lily nodded, feeling her own vulnerability mirrored back at her. I understand, she said gently. It took me a long time to find mine, and I still feel scared sometimes. The woman offered a small smile, one filled with newfound hope. You've inspired me to try. Maybe I could share my story too, if only to a few at first. Absolutely. Lily's excitement bubbled over. Even the smallest stories can spark change. I can't wait to hear yours. As they spoke, Lily noticed other faces around her, some curious, others contemplating. A small cluster gathered nearby, drawn in by their exchange. Among them was Jack, who leaned in, his eyes shining with admiration. His presence felt grounding. You were incredible, Lily, he said quietly, a smile spreading across his face. It's so powerful to see you owning your truth. Thank you, she replied, a warmth pooling in her chest. But I couldn't have done it without you all supporting me. I mean it. This is our journey together. Encouragement sparked conversations among the crowd. Strangers turned into friends, sharing snippets of their lives, their laughter echoing like music. In that moment, it felt like they were all part of something bigger, a tapestry of stories woven together in resilience. As the night went on and people shared, Lily felt a magnetic pull. Each story unfurled like petals, a warmth spreading through her. She discovered that the young woman shared a passion for photography, documenting moments in people's lives. Her excitement was infectious. Lily felt the embers of inspiration forming a glow inside her. You should showcase your work, she suggested. You can share those personal stories, reflect the beauty in vulnerability. Who knows? Maybe you'll inspire others just like you inspired me. Looking around, she realized she wasn't alone. There were dozens of people ready to embrace their journeys, to find that courage to share. Each person, each story was a thread connecting them all. And with every connection, hope flourished, but as the crowd began to dwindle, a familiar unease whispered in the back of her mind. It was the nagging thought of what lay ahead. Could she really help others find their voices when she struggled with her own doubts? I think I need to gather these stories, Lily confessed to Jack later, her forehead creased in thought. What if we created a space for everyone to share their journeys? Jack's eyes lit up, and he reached for her hand. That's a brilliant idea. Let's call it Voices Unleashed. It could be a platform where others can find the courage to share. The prospect of Voices Unleashed filled her with both excitement and trepidation. What if no one showed up? What if no one felt compelled to share? Right now, it only exists in our hearts, Jack said, sensing her hesitation. But that can change. Deep in thought, Lily understood that this new journey wouldn't be easy, yet something within her sparked to life. The chance to encourage others felt like a mission waiting to unfold. It was a leap into the unknown, but as she watched the last remnants of the crowd leaving, she realized that her journey had only just begun. Let us do it, she whispered to herself, resolve building. What awaited them when they ventured further into this mission? Would the stories they helped amplify create ripples of change? The next day felt heavy with anticipation, as if the sun itself sensed the weight of Lily's mission. She sat at her kitchen table, a blank notebook open before her, staring at the empty pages as the aroma of coffee wafted in the air. The idea of Voices Unleashed danced in her mind, but doubts clouded her enthusiasm like a storm threatening to break. Am I truly ready for this? She muttered, biting the edge of her pen. The questions loomed larger than life. What if no one was interested? What if she floundered in leading this group? Just then, her phone buzzed, pulling her from her spiral of self-doubt. It was a message from Jack, excited to get started today. Let's South meet at the park and brainstorm your ideas. His enthusiasm was magnetic. It pulled at the corners of Lily's weary heart, coaxing her to imagine the possibilities of gathering people together. Voices raised in unison, stories flowing like a river of untold experiences. With a deep breath, she replied, absolutely. I'll be there soon. As she made her way to the park, the vibrant greens and blooming flowers punctured through her worries. Children played, laughter floated in the air, and for a moment, she felt that everything around her mirrored the joy she hoped to create. When she arrived, Jack was already there, sitting on a bench, tapping away on his phone. The instant their eyes locked, he beamed. "You're here. Ready to change the world?" Lily chuckled, grateful for his relentless positivity. "Well, let us at least start with a few stories." They tossed ideas back and forth, sketching out plans for the first gathering. Where would it be? What would they need? A vision took form, growing brighter with each discussion. The exhilaration of brainstorming infused the air, making Lily forget her earlier insecurities. "We should have a theme for the first meetup," Jack suggested, his eyes glinting with inspiration. "How about finding your voice? It fits perfectly with this journey we're on." Lily's heart raced. The title resonated. Yes. It's simple yet powerful. It captures everything we stand for. It might even encourage people to take that first step. Excitement surged between them, fueling their creativity. By the time they finished their planning, the sun hung lower in the sky, casting a golden hue over the park. "Lily, this is just the beginning," Jack said, his voice steady, filled with promise. "You're going to inspire so many people." Her heart fluttered at the idea. Yet, a lurking doubt crawled back, whispering insecurities like an unwelcome guest. "But what if I can't? What if I don't know how to help them?" Jack placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You already are, Lily. By just being you, by wanting to create this space, you're helping. Share what you've learned. They'll connect with your story. Trust me." His faith in her broke through the fog. As they sat there, the park filled with the sounds of evening, she began to envision the faces of those who might soon arrive. Each one would be different, each with a unique journey. The fluttering of doubt settled slightly, overshadowed by a budding hope. She could see it now, people coming together, speaking their truths, weaving a fabric of shared experiences. What's next? She questioned, eyes sparkling with an eagerness she hadn't felt in a long time. "Next," he said, "we launch this on social media. We need to spread the word." With renewed energy, they whipped out their phones and tapped away. Each word typed felt like a ripple in a pond, slowly growing larger. Lily's heart raced. But just as anticipation surged within her, a familiar voice interrupted, asking for her attention. "Excuse me, are you Lily?" A stranger approached, her expression serious yet hopeful. "I heard about what you're doing. I think I have a story to share." The world around Lily faded as her heart pumped with excitement and nerves. Would this be the first of many connections she dreamed of? What lay ahead for Voices Unleashed seemed more vivid than ever, but now she felt the weight of real responsibility. Was she truly ready for the stories that would come? The week flew by in a blur of preparation, excitement, and nervous anticipation. Lily's heart raced whenever she thought of the upcoming launch of Voices Unleashed. Jack, Amy, and Mark were her unwavering pillars of strength. Every day they worked tirelessly, creating flyers, reaching out to community centers, and spreading the word via social media. Finally, the day had come. As Lily arrived at the community center, trepidation pulled at her heart. The room buzzed with hopeful chatter, yet the air felt thick with a mix of expectations and fears. She looked around, taking in the colorful banners that adorned the walls, each one echoing their theme, "Finding Your Voice." Taking a deep breath, she steadied herself. This wasn't just about her anymore, it was about everyone who felt silenced. Jack approached, his eyes bright with encouragement. "You've got this, Lily. Just speak your truth," he said, squeezing her hand before heading to grab the last-minute refreshments. Amy had decorated the space with photographs taken by local artists, capturing moments of joy, struggle, and connection. They transformed the room into an inviting haven. Still, an underlying anxiety danced in Lily's chest. What if nobody showed up? What if her own voice faltered in front of a crowd waiting to hear her story? "Hey, stop that," Mark called softly, sensing her hesitation. "You've already inspired us. Just imagine the lives you'll touch tonight." His words hung in the air, igniting a spark of hope. The clock ticked toward the start time, every second riveting. Eventually, familiar faces began to trickle in, friends, family, and strangers drawn by a shared desire to connect and heal. As the clock struck 6, Lily took her place in front of the audience, her heart in her throat. The crowd settled into their seats, anticipation palpable. She gazed out at the sea of faces, her friends settled in the front, beaming with encouragement. "Hi everyone," she began, her voice slightly trembling yet sincere. "I'm so glad you're all here. This space is about more than just sharing stories, it's about building bridges and supporting each other." Her words ignited something in the room. She spoke of her journey, of the darkness she had felt following her accident and how isolation had threatened to engulf her. As she recounted those moments of despair, she could see heads nodding. She wasn't alone in this. Tears glimmered in the eyes of listeners, and she could sense their shared pain and understanding. It felt like a collective embrace. "I want to challenge each of you," she said, her voice gaining strength, "to find your voice to share, whether it's here tonight or in your own way. Every story matters. Every voice deserves to be heard." Applause erupted, washing over her like a wave. The energy in the room transformed, the fear and doubt dissolved into something far more powerful. People began to open up, sharing glimpses of their lives, their struggles, and their victories. Lily listened intently, her heart swelling as each story unfolded. She felt the connection vibrate through the air like music, as if each voice woven together created a symphony of resilience. After the stories flowed from many, there was silence, a pregnant pause. Then, a hand shot up, a woman from the back, visibly emotional. "I just want to say thank you," she said, tears flowing freely down her cheeks. "You have no idea what your words have done for me tonight. I've felt alone for so long, and now I see I'm not." At that moment, a wave of realization washed over Lily. This is what she wanted, this sense of community and belonging. As the night wore on, they all shared food, laughter, and stories. Conversations burgeoned, friendships blossomed. Lily felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She and her friends had sparked a beautiful movement, one that could continue to grow. Late into the evening, as they began to pack up, Jack turned to her and said, "You changed lives tonight, Lily. You've created a space for voices to be unleashed." Tears streamed down her cheeks, but this time they were tears of joy. She realized that she had finally found her place, not just as a survivor, but as a beacon of hope for others, and as she looked around at the familiar faces growing into new friendships, she knew this was only the beginning. The journey ahead was vast, filled with challenges, but she felt ready to meet them head-on, with her family and friends by her side. They had all found their voices together, and from that moment on, none of them would ever have to feel alone again. Realizing the power of connection and shared experiences, Lily whispered to herself, "This is just the start. Now, it's your turn to be part of this journey." Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss out on the next exclusive stories that inspire and touch hearts. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help others discover these powerful tales. Share your feelings and thoughts about this transformation in the comments below, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible journey of hope. You need to show your support today. Let us create a ripple of change together.